Hi guys, it's your friend and future librarian, frequently sporadic, and today we are going to be talking about Person. The person who wrote Person is Sam Pink, and it is of a genre called bizarro fiction. And give me one moment, I want to pull up the definition of bizarro fiction because this is a new genre for me. So the internet says, bizarro fiction is a contemporary literary genre which often uses elements of absurdism, satire, and the grotesque, along with pop surrealism and genre fiction staples, in order to create subversive, weird, and entertaining works. The term was adopted in 2005 by the independent publishing companies Eraserhead Press, Raw Dog, Screaming Press, and it cuts off from there. So, relatively new genre of fiction. I found out about it when I was on the Men Writing Women subreddit, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but they had a little excerpt from a book about a man who goes into a woman's privates and discovers a whole nother world. And I was like, oh, that would be so much fun to do and review for you guys, like to read that book. But I was looking at reviews for the book and they were mixed, which I quickly realized was kind of normal for books in this genre. It seems like people have really strong opinions one way or another. Some people really like this sort of absurd stream of consciousness vibe. Some people don't dig it at all. It's sort of just whether or not you like this style of writing. But what I ended up doing was looking up some of the best, sort of most liked books in this particular sphere, and I landed on Person by Sam Pink. And I think I landed on it because one of the negative reviews said, nothing happens in this book. It's just kind of a stream of thoughts. And I was like, that's really interesting. I'd really like to sort of dive into a book that is about absolutely nothing at all and see how the writer can make that last and make that interesting. And is Person an interesting book? Absolutely yes. Does it stay with you? I'm not sure. Person, full disclosure, was a bathtub book. And if you've seen one of my previous reviews, a bathtub book is a book that I read in one sitting while I soak and prune in a tub. So it's pretty fresh. I just finished reading it about an hour ago, and then I set up to talk to you guys about it. Even though it's fresh, it's sort of already seeping out of my mind. Now, this could be because I literally just read the entire book in a bathtub. Or it could be because it's such an extreme, state of just thought after thought after thought after thought hitting you almost abrasively because the emotions of the character are very strong, that it kind of just leaves you more with a feeling than it does with the actual prose of the book. Also because, as was said in that review, there isn't a definitive plot here. It's just sort of the deterioration of a person who's already not starting off in a great place. That being said, any feelings that I did have from reading the book, especially right at the outset, were strong. This is a really emotional book. It really feels like you're going along with the character through their mind, and it's not a comfortable sort of adventure. It's really, really gritty and nasty, and it sort of speaks to the worst parts of you as a person. This is not a person that I would want to know, because they bring out the things in me and the things in others that I don't like, and they keep it at the forefront. So this is an angry person. This is a person that really doesn't like themselves to the point where engaging with others or engaging in the world at all to the point of getting a job is almost impossible for them. They can't sustain any really valuable relationship because that would mean sort of, I don't know, bettering themselves in some way. And that's just not something that they can reasonably achieve. Whether it's a deliberate choice or it's something that they can't help is kind of muddy. I feel like it's a little bit of both. This is something that they've been growing into throughout their whole lives, while still somehow not even being able to start living. One of the sentences that sticks out throughout the book and that the author uses repeatedly is "it feels like practice," which is an interesting sentence to me because I'm not exactly sure in what way it feels like practice, except that I think the sentence "it feels like practice" is interesting because the only way I can perceive it is it feels like they're practicing living, like they haven't quite figured out how to even be a person yet, which is interesting, to live your life as though it's not even your life. Things are coming and happening to you passively. You're just sort of engaging in them, and you're sort of just sponging it up. Yeah, it's the person is distasteful, and I think the author did that meaningfully and did that really well. But because of that, he sort of takes up the space of the book. He is the book. He's all you have. He has a roommate and a woman that he is with. And I'm not sure how much of his interactions with them are real, if they're real, because at the end, he's engaging with a salesperson and they tell him that he's horrible, and it doesn't seem like a real interaction. So the author themselves, not the author themselves, the character themselves is unreliable, which I love. I love unreliable characters. So it was kind of exciting to sort of get to the end of the book and realize that the entire book might, how much of it is legitimate is sort of up to you. But beyond this character, because the character is the book, isn't much, which you can take as a positive thing or a negative thing. I think it's always interesting to sort of zoom in on the life of one specific person and see them, even see them falling apart, because you get to see them. But it doesn't leave me with much besides this one person. I keep going back and forth on this in talking to you, because I'm going back and forth on this in my head and I'm chewing on it right now as we have this conversation. I don't know if I like that it's just this one person, and I feel like that hinges on how much you like the book. So very unsure. I really like the prose used in person. I really like how much he doesn't like himself and how much he's unable to meaningfully engage in the world while seemingly really wanting to. There's this moment right in the beginning where he's passing an ice skating rink and he's like, "No one invited me." And he goes, "No, I don't know." And he says that a lot. "No, I don't know." Like he sort of puts forth a thought and then pulls it back. And I like that. It's a person who's mildly aware that their thought process is flawed in some way. And so they put it forward because it's their knee-jerk reaction to something. And then they realize that it either goes against their cognitive sort of way of perceiving the world, and it sort of contradicts that, and they don't like it, so they have to take it back. Or it seems so negative that he can't he doesn't even want to really entertain the thought, so he pulls it back into himself and he goes, "No, I don't know, that's not right." And I really, really enjoyed that. I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say about Person. This is going to be a short video, even by my standards. It's just about a human being. It's very simple and very driven by self-loathing. And it left me feeling really icky, really bad, which is really good. I think Sam Pink did a fantastic job sort of evoking that feeling. I wonder if there's more to this book that maybe I didn't understand, and I kind of like that too. And I might revisit it one day again when I'm taking a bath, just to see if there's more than I can take away from it. But yeah, that is it for Person. I am hoping next time we talk, I have a little bit of a longer book to talk about with you guys. What seems to be happening with me is that I will pick a very big project, like The Witching Hour, or I believe the other book that I tried to do was Deaths of Despair, and this time it's House of Leaves. I'll pick a very, very big book. I will finish the book, but after finishing the book, I don't want to talk about it. So I'll either do a half video on it, or I won't do a video on it at all, or I do a video on it and then I don't like publish the video because I don't like the way that I talk about the book. So we're going through House of Leaves right now. I will maybe talk about it, maybe I won't. We will see. If not, I mean, I have absolutely no shortage of books in front of me to go through and to talk with you guys about. I wonder if we're going to do more dives into sort of different genres, just because how I usually select books is I go into a store and whatever book, either by the cover or by the sort of back description, feels good to me, feels interesting, sort of feels provocative, I'll pick it up, I'll take it home with me. Sometimes I leave with a stack of books and I'll just go through them. Because that's not really an option anymore, what I'll do is I'll peruse the internet, maybe a little bit too much, see if I can find something new or interesting, and then I'll buy it. So this might lead to more books that are sort of a little bit out there, but I think that might be a good thing. I always think it's kind of cool to find something that you would never normally sort of pick up. I mean, even the artwork for this, I haven't seen anything like this since I read Cruddy, which I wonder if that falls into bizarro fiction. I'm not sure. You know, let me know in the comments if you're more versed in that kind of thing than I am. But I don't know. I really like this book in the sense that it was something completely new, and that it had I would say no notable conflict. The conflict is completely the person. The person is the protagonist, the antagonist, and the conflict of the book. And I mean, that's how we live, right? We are our greatest enemy, our greatest asset, and in a lot of ways, our greatest conflicts. So, yeah, just a really interesting book. And hopefully more like this going forward. Stay tuned. We'll either talk about House of Leaves coming up next, or we won't. I don't want to make any promises. But I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.